And we're back with Truth Unrestricted, the podcast that is creating and interpreting the language of the disinformation age. I'm Spencer, your host, and I'm back again today with Patrick. How you doing, Patrick?
Good, Spencer. How are you?
Good. I'm. We're gonna do another episode of The Prisoner today. Are you prepared? Did you do your homework on The Prisoner?
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
I'm caught up.
So
I'm
much
caught up
better at
to the.
homework now than you were in high school, right?
That's putting it mildly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
I don't know
Me
about
too.
that. You
I
were you were
I
straight
wasn't
A's. I was straight
I
detention.
wasn't good at homework, and I wasn't straight A's. I got A's in the classes I liked, and the
Oh,
ones that I didn't like homework in, I got B's and whatever. I
we just
just
never heard about those.
I never showed anyone my report card. Everyone knew that I was smart or whatever, and every once in a while they'd give me an award for something or other. But yeah, I never asked for those. I never put my name on a list or anything. It was just a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't have any housekeeping. There's been no change to the stream of likely AI generated requests to be on the podcast that I get. Just gonna still ignore them because I think they're just a machine. And we're gonna move on. So for anyone who's unfamiliar, quick recap here. We're talking about an episode of The Prisoner called Checkmate. This was the 9th episode to air in the original run of this show back in 1967. And it's very obscure. Most people have not seen it. And sometimes I wonder if anyone cares that I do these things that no one's ever seen. But I don't know. I think without feedback, I think I'll just carry on as if nothing's wrong. Maybe I'll do a really, really obscure thing next time around, and just to see, I'll do like I don't know.
It'll be standing some sort of test of time. Someone will circle back to this later,
Yeah,
you know, and
yeah, someone
it'll
will.
be really important.
It'll be
Yeah.
on the internet forever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the thing about it. It'll be there forever. Uh, yeah. So we've talked a little bit about The Prisoner. We talked about the premise. And in the last episode, we talked about an episode that was called. No, it wasn't called that. It was called
Free for all?
Free for All. That's right, Free for All. The sort of send up of democracy that he did. It was brilliant. This is maybe my favorite episode, actually, my personal favorite. Maybe this one, although there's another one that we're going to do. The next one we're going to do is also a strong favorite of mine.
Mm-hmm.
So, but let's just get into it. We're not doing a scene by scene play by play of this, but it's going to seem like it the way that this starts, because I don't have a clip for this because it's all audio and I can't show any of the video, otherwise YouTube gets very angry. But this show, after the opening credits, the 3 minutes of opening credits, it opens with our old pal, the big white ball, Rover, roaming the streets, right? And as soon as it shows up, everyone completely freezes, like unnaturally freezes and stops everything they're doing. And we sort of get the idea that this is done out of fear. The villagers do this because they're afraid.
It's some sort of village rule.
Yeah, well, when you act out too far outside the bounds, Rover gets you, right?
Yeah.
It seems unpleasant. I think it was difficult with his the technology of 1967 to do this, but
Yeah.
um,
Rover
but
today
as
would be terrifying. Rover back then is kind of
yeah,
like, I don't know. That's I think I'd
yeah.
be okay against Rover, but
Well, I don't know. It the one time it rolled over a person, it did look not great.
yeah.
That person looked really afraid.
It's using forces we don't understand.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah. What does it feel like when it touches you? I don't know.
I would
Yeah.
yeah.
So while this is happening, everyone in the street is completely frozen.
Almost.
But then an older man gets out of his house and starts walking onto the street. And at first, it
Mhm.
seems like he's unaware of what's going on. Like he just kind of, he's in his house. He just kind of showed up. But he walks out almost right in front of Rover as Rover's passing, going right past him. He could reach out and touch Rover.
Mhm.
And he's completely unafraid. He's not
Mhm.
startled at all at the sight of this, large white balloon that seems to be the enforcer in the village. And
Rover ignores him.
Rover also ignores him. It's
Yeah.
hard to say what Rover knows or doesn't know because it's a ball. It's not even a person,
Mhm.
right? We don't even know what demonic force fills Rover.
But we've seen Rover attack someone once before for moving in like the opening
Yeah,
episode, so we know
for
that's a
getting out of
consequence.
line. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you have to follow Rover's commands. It's the
yeah.
yeah. So this looks out of place. So number 6 follows this fearless man, and it
Mhm.
leads him to a human-sized chessboard. Uh, and also when we in the scene that follows, we get introduced to this guy by another person, and there's a reference to him not as a number, but as a name. He's called the Champion. So this whole thing seems really, really super interesting in the context of the show. We don't get a lot of people being referred to by something other than a number ever, but this
Mhm.
guy has a name, not a real name like Joe or something, just like a
It's a
title,
role.
the
Yeah.
Champion. Yeah. Um, So in the scene that sort of comes up, he gets invited to play, but playing isn't, he's not playing chess. We think of playing chess as being the person who chooses the moves.
Mhm.
In this sense, playing chess is just getting to be part of the game by being one of the pieces, getting
Yeah.
told what to do, right? And during this exchange, he manages to ask a question of the character who is the queen. Who is number 1? He says. And this is a total non sequitur. They're not talking about anything related to number 1, although she has just referred to this person as the champion. And this is the moment he chooses to ask, who is number 1? And he gets no straight answer at all. I think I can't remember her exact response, but it's something like questions are dangerous or something like that. Like it's a
The
reference to the fact that you
standard village
shouldn't
deflection.
be
Yeah.
asking that. Yeah, that sort of thing. So all of that is super interesting to me. Like this whole thing, like as a fan of chess, who by the way doesn't play anymore, but still greatly enjoys the thought of playing based on all the things I used to do. This whole setup was immediately interesting the first time I watched it and is still interesting now. How did this grab you when you first saw it? I mean, you knew that the episode was Checkmate. You knew that we were going to do this episode and it was a significant episode, so you had that. You didn't go into this completely cold.
Mhm.
But this and the way it leads to this and the opening of it, how did this grab you?
Well, it was, I mean, it was very interesting how it looked like maybe there were personal consequences to be endured by the players on the board. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
game that's not under any of their control. It's not under, it's just they're they're following the orders, the moves as they're called out. So then there's an immediate question of, what happens when the pieces are killed, and it looks like they're just being ushered off, but there's still an element of danger somehow
The
communicated.
Yeah, the queen mentions that they don't know where the champion came from, but there's a rumor. Rumors are great in the village. There's a rumor that uh, he was a descendant from some royalty somewhere or other that did this sort of thing. Their family did this sort of thing in the past, and the pieces, when they got removed from the board, were executed. But
Mm.
she assures him that this won't happen here. You're perfectly safe, right? Um, odd thing to say, then also say, oh, no, don't worry. We don't do that barbaric stuff around here. But during all this, did you notice how they refer to all of this? Like they already say like playing the game isn't really playing the game as we think of it. It's just participating in the game, as in volunteering to be on the board. But at no point is anyone ever allowed to make any choices. They have to act out the moves that are given to them by the two people who are actually playing, the champion and the person controlling the other side of the board is never given a name or a number. We have to assume that that's the loser. I don't know. They're not the champion. I don't know.
They're just the current opponent. Yeah.
Yeah, the opponent, I guess. The champion and the opponent. But I mean, if one of them's a champion, the other one's the loser, right? They're the one that's
bound to
not
be
winning.
the loser.
Yeah.
Unless they become the champion.
I mean, they play this every day, it seems, right?
Yeah.
So, as this game is progressing, I mean, we do have a moment where number 6 is wanting some particular piece of information, and then he is asked to move. Asked is strong. He is informed that it's his time to move, and he ignores everything else around him because he doesn't take orders from anyone, really. He's the hero of the story, but he does eventually capitulate and move just to see what else is going to go on in the game. Or, I mean, that's what it seems like anyway. He deigns to move after he is asked several times, reminded by loudspeakers and everything else. And then shortly after that, we have another moment where we have another player on the board who does something. And I have the audio clip of that. We'll see if this makes any sense in just audio form only. Let's see.
Check! White Queen's rooks are moved without orders. Bring him in for treatment. Control room to hospital. Control room to hospital. Report to chessboard.
Call the substitute. Call the substitute. The substitute. The substitute. Call the substitute.
Remove White Queen's rook to hospital. Remove White Queen's rook to hospital. Remove White Queen's rook to hospital. What's all that about?
It's not allowed. Cult of the individual.
So there you have it. It could almost work as a radio play, right? You almost understand sort of what's happening here. We have to explain that this character, the rook, played out of turn. He wasn't informed that it was his move, that he was to move. And he also moved in a wildly illegal fashion for a rook. Like as we're looking at it, he goes way off script and he just moves to a position.
This rook has had it
on the far side of the board. Yeah. He like before that, you can see he's kind of really nervous. There's some kind of high anxiety going on in his mind. And then he just bolts, kind of goes across the board, plants himself in a position and yells check, like to just call an audible. He's just doing this. And then all of that scene happens where they pull him off, they call the substitute, and take him away in an ambulance. The sirens blare, and then number 2 asks, "What was that all about?" And she says, "It's not allowed. Cult of the individual." And this is so interesting because it's not that it's not allowed because that's an illegal move. It's not that it's not allowed because he's ruining the game. It's not that it's not allowed because the rules of the game state whatever. Cult of the individual is the problem. So it's almost like they're saying that yes, you get to be a part of this, but only if you play along, and anyone who chooses to not play along goes away. So this what's sort of the idea being pushed out here is sort of exactly how conspiracists see the world. They see themselves as the only ones who have real choices, right? And that everyone else who's, you know, buying into whatever the mainstream media is telling them, and just nodding along whenever the, you know, current person in charge tells them things, they see everyone else as like an automaton who's just a piece on a board, and they're doing all the things that are told to do, and they are the ones with the secret knowledge that uh, uh, can allow them to break free, can make their own moves, sort of thing. But they have to hide themselves. They have to not make too many moves, because if they move at a place like this, they'll get in trouble. This is sort of a weird, you know, prisoner-esque view of what conspiracists think of the world. What do you think of that? Does that make sense?
It's fair comment. Yeah, I mean, like that's always. I think that's well. I almost would say it's fair of both sides. Both, if we look at both sides, we both believe the other side is operating from a deficit of real knowledge about the situation, and so therefore any decisions made by the other side are suspect because we're saying that it's not built on sound reason.
Well, okay. Two sides, but one side thinks the other side is all just pawns in a game
Mm-hmm.
that are just doing whatever society tells them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why they're distrusted, because they aren't in on the knowledge, and cognitive dissonance will prevent them from accepting, you know, the truth, in quotes, the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But we would tend to not trust them for an entirely different reason. Not because we think they're pawns who are following any kind of instructions from a leader of any kind that's doing it, but because they're irrational. They're unpredictable. They're not going to follow along with anything because they think following along with things is a trap of some kind that causes them to, I don't know, lose a part of themselves, I think.
Okay, well, the only challenge then I have for that is just the idea of what constitutes a leader, right? So, like, when you have people that suffer from misinformation, looking at the leaders of state, like those are formalized leaders,
Yeah.
as opposed to informalized leaders who are the, I don't know, like Alex Joneses, or you like YouTube influencers, or I don't have a lot of names on speed dial, but you know what I mean? Like their leaders are the ones who are posting the shit that gets shared the most
Well,
amongst their little circles.
we might call them influencers, but that's a very
Sure.
generic term. I might call them thought leaders, or perhaps like thought filters, because many of them aren't very original. Most of them are not very original. Most of them are repeating each other's stuff, but each other's stuff that fits with the narrative that they've come up with so far. So like Alex Jones has a set of ideas, and he repeats oftentimes what other people have come up with from Twitter and other places, but only the select parts that go with the story that he's been laying out so far, the theme that he's been working on, right? So you know, the parts that will if he says that shootings are fake because the state wants to convince the public to agree to give up their guns, then that's a sort of a theme that he's working on. But then when there's another shooting and someone else comes up with some other narrative about, the way in which it's fake, he jumps on that and says, oh yeah, that's a good one. And then he just repeats that. And he didn't have to come up with those ideas. Other people are coming up with them because they're in the sort of same stew that are generating these ideas, and you just pluck the ones that work for you at the time. And this is a thing that I call crowdsourced storytelling, where all these voices are chiming in with different conspiratorial ideas, and you pick out the ones that you like and you form the story yourself to make some weird sort of sense to you. And this is a thing that you'll notice with anyone who is very deep into these conspiratorial ideas, is that they'll have the parts that they like, and they'll often have other parts that they don't agree with or don't even like. And they'll be putting it together on their own. Every one of them has their own unique set of like storytelling DNA that they've all collected from all the many different sort of thought leaders or what did I say? The
influencers,
the filter people that are bringing to them just the select ideas, right? But I mean, it's not just Alex Jones, it's Candace Owens, it's Jordan Peterson, it's RFK Jr. It's the list is long here, right? There very many of them are right-wing people right now. That's just because that's where the money is, essentially, for this. The audience for that is in the right wing right now. There are some that sort of lean left, but that's a very short list I gave. But Tim Pool and Dave Rubin, and Dave Rubin is a little more respectable, but he's still not close to where this needs to be. I mean, he was taking money from the Russians to keep his show active and say things. Yeah.
I don't.
You didn't know about that?
Story. No.
Oh, that's a whole thing. Tim Pool and Dave Rubin and a couple other people were all in a media company together that was all getting paid money from Russia to be on the air. Tim Pool was getting something like $400,000 a month or something. Yeah, it was crazy. And he apparently didn't ever ask where that money was coming from. Yeah, if you believe that, yeah. But these are the sorts of people who will be sort of grabbing at these ideas and then just throwing the ones that they like at their audience. And then their audience is taking those ideas and probably some ideas from some of the others. And then they're also just mix and matching in their own head as to which ones they like, which select ones make more sense to them as a combination, right? But this is why it's all sort of a soup. And you're grabbing one spoonful and it happens to just have these chunks in it. But they think like a common idea that's spread around about this is that the phrase conspiracy theory was invented, usually in the story, it was invented by the CIA to discredit people who, quote unquote, know the truth, right? This is the reality inversion sort of idea, is that yes, we are conspiracy theorists. That's how we know the truth, as opposed to our view, which is like, no, that's all garbage. None of that makes sense, and it's going to lead you to the wrong conclusions nearly every time. But yeah. So this is why I picked this episode as a key one to look at. It's super fun also, by the way, because of chess.
I thought it was cool. Yeah, I mean, it gets to be an intricate little episode with the question being, asked, like how it's structured, like how in control of our own actions are we? Right?
Yeah, and you'll notice that almost everyone, like if you rewatch the episode, every time they refer to the game and the players are never the champion or the opponent, right? The ones who are calling out the moves. The players are always the pieces on the board. It's arranged, the wording is arranged such that there's almost a pretense of decision happening for all the pieces on the board, whereas in reality, none of them make it when they're on the board make any decisions. And if they dared to try to make a decision, they would be pulled out and brought to a hospital for, treatment. Which I think some conspiracy theorists think is actually happening somewhere, that there's some treatments happening for some people somewhere, which is just another extra level of, totally unreal idea. So this moves on, and after that, pretty much immediately after that, the game ends, and we get a conversation between our hero number 6 and the champion. So let's listen to that. I'm good at this. Here we go.
Sir, you play a fine game. Yes. Shall we walk? Why not? Lead on.
You notice there that it's the champion was calling out the moves. He's talking there to number 6, says to number 6, "You play a fine game." Very subtle, but it's pretending as though number 6 had any of the choices involved. He didn't. Right. Okay, carrying on.
Sir, why do you use people? Psychiatrists say it satisfies the desire for power. The only opportunity one gets here. It depends which side you're on. I'm on my side. Aren't we all? You must be new here. In time, most of us joined the enemy against ourselves. Have you? Let's talk about the game. All right, why do both sides look alike? You mean, how do I know black from white? No. You men always ask that. Well? By their disposition, by the moves they make. You soon know who's for you or against you. Don't follow you. It's simple psychology, the way it is in life. You judge by attitudes. People don't need uniforms. Why complicate it? To keep your mind alert. What use is that to you here? Let's walk.
What use is that to you here, keeping your mind alert? Why not just slip into obsolescence already? So this is interesting. Sometimes when I think about this episode, as I've seen it at least 100 times, I wonder if this is like a problem in the writing, or if it's just more clever than I'm able to imagine. But this champion was the same person who was not afraid of Rover, did not feel any need to stop for Rover, and carried on. So we get this idea already in the opening scene of the show that some people are acting distinctly differently than the other people in the village. And this is maybe a sign that they are, as he put in Free for All, he said that he wanted to discover who are the prisoners and who are the wardens. Right? This idea, and he says it again here, that some of us have turned and gone with our captors, sort of thing, and work with them now. And he says, "Have you?" So, because he suspects that he has, because Rover didn't nail him when he didn't freeze, right?
Yeah, that's the obvious kind of
it feels pretty
there.
obvious. And he doesn't tell him, "I caught you. Rover didn't stop. You're definitely one of them." Like he doesn't tell him that. He just plays out the conversation and sees how it goes. But this guy is handing him this idea that if you're able to read people, if you're able to interact with them, your interaction with them will tell you something about which side they're on, what they believe, what they think, what they feel. I think there's something about this that occurs in the minds of people who believe in conspiracy ideas. So like some of them, like the ones we find, like, have you ever worked with someone who was like a believer in a lot of conspiracies?
No, not that I can think of. No.
Yeah. Okay. So it's possible that you did, but they were just quiet, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes you'll run into people who are loud about this. And we think of the people who are loud about it in a particular way because they just won't shut up about it, it seems. Like they'll bring it up all the friggin' time. They're worse than vegans, I swear. Like it's sorry, vegans.
Sorry. Sorry,
If you're
everyone.
quiet about this and you're polite about it, that's fine. But like sometimes that's not the case with vegans. They just keep bringing it up all the time. And this is the case with some people who believe in conspiracy ideas. They refuse to shut up about it. This happened especially during the pandemic, because the pandemic was a moment where we all felt like there was some level of existential risk involved, and it divided based on what you believed was real. Like if you believed that COVID was not a danger, then all the people who were acting as though it was a danger were on the opposite side as you were on this. So it was the divide between the people who believed in conspiracy ideation and those who didn't became more clear during COVID because of this, right? Um, because of COVID and the lockdown and people just having several months to just watch nothing but television mostly. We all knew what the Tiger King was, and also there was a lot of anti-vaccine disinformation that got pushed out because anti-vaxxers knew that there would be a vaccine and they would get a brand new spotlight with which to display their ideas, and that pilled a lot of people. It was just a world-shaking thing, and some people shook out of conspiracy beliefs then, and other people got shook into it, and that's just how things shake. Yeah. But that idea, like this idea of interacting with people and seeing how they react with their world, would have been very, very clear mid-pandemic, like June of 2020. This idea that he's talking about right now, this would have been extremely prevalent in our world at large, right? So from there, we have there's a couple scenes that I don't mix in here. There's a bunch of stuff involving the Queen that I just thought was a little bit weird. Quite frankly, it doesn't seem to have added much to the plot. I think it's mostly filler. At one point, they hypnotize the Queen and convince her that she's in love with number 6, and she breaks into his house and tries to, I don't know, clean it or make dinner. I don't know. It's hard to say. He's in his pajamas. It wasn't clear to me whether he just woke up or he was going to bed. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. All that is weird, but we get this moment where he finds the Rook goes to the hospital, and they show number 6 what's happening to the Rook, and he's sort of getting some kind of electroshock treatments or something, and then he gets released from the hospital, but number 6 is using his new found idea that he was hand given by this guy that he's sure is with the captors, right? So this is also a little bit weird that he's using this idea and trusts it, but he maybe still thinks it's a good idea. He thinks he can tell the difference between who is and who isn't working with the state, I guess is what it would be, by interacting with them. And he starts observing people and making little notes on his little crossword and pretending to do the crossword when he's actually just sort of he has like little numbers on there, and then he's like observing people who I think are that number, and then like crossing them off if he seems like they're not a good pick, right? But then as he's doing this, he runs into the Rook, and he manages to break past the Rook's reluctance to admit to having free thoughts, which, by the way, that fear is sort of how it's sort of how people who aren't believers in conspiracy ideas are portrayed by people who believe in conspiracy ideas. That without the freedom of knowing all the things, there's some level of programming and fear or whatever that's swaying everyone else's minds.
Right. Making us afraid to look at it.
Yes, making us afraid to admit that we saw it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is a way for people who believe in conspiracies to explain to themselves why it is that there's so few of them. If they have an explanation for why there's so few of them, that makes it okay that, yeah, it's fine that almost none of us have noticed this except for us few. But the others, they notice, but they're just too afraid. We're the brave ones who have admitted this to ourselves. But yeah, we get this sort of a conversation with them. It's not too long, but it sort of sets up the stage for what's going to happen.
The Guardians pose as prisoners, but none of them would be intimidated by me.
You're a prisoner.
Yes, only other prisoners would obey me.
So you find a way to identify. So where does it get you?
It's the first step. No escape plan can succeed without knowing who you can rely on.
What is the plan?
First things first. Let's find our reliable men.
Yeah, our reliable men. I mean, he could say reliable women too. I mean, it's
Back then?
well, there are women in the village. There's a queen in this episode. She has several lines. So, in a weird twist, we didn't have the Bechdel test in 1967, but we do have a woman in this episode that has quite a few lines, and she's not just a wife character, although it's weirdly that she's set up almost as one in a weird sort of way. But still, that seems to be one of the only characters that he completely distrusts, and not because of his little tests. I don't know where to go with that. It was 1967. I mean, yeah, there was unspoken misogyny happening everywhere. I saw Mad Men. I saw it on Mad Men. I know. So yeah, but he does lay it out exactly there that they need to find out who they can trust before they make an escape plan. And then they go and they set about doing that. He essentially poses as a captor, starting demanding things of people. He goes up to a storekeeper. Yeah, I want to see your books. And he's very abrupt about it. Yeah, we're going to take a look at your books. Oh, never had that done before. Yeah, well, I'm going to have to look at them all the same. All right, then come on in, show me the books. If he'd complained more, then maybe he's, with the state. But if he's capitulant, then maybe he's with us, right? And that's the test. That's the sort of thing. You sort of bully people, and whoever kicks back too much, well, you can't trust them. But if
they're a part of the machine.
Yeah. If they think that you're okay, if they think that you know more than them, okay, well, I better do what this guy says. He seems to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this leads to an overly complicated plan that has to do with some electronic components, and a couple times they mentioned transistors as though that's going to mean anything to anyone. And then they build a radio, and they talk into it. A bunch of stuff happens, and the whole thing is a ruse, because they also know that the people in the control room are watching them and trying to figure out what they're doing. So they need to make it look like they're doing something when they're doing something else. And they do like a real, what I call a Will Riker move here. You watch Star Trek Next Generation, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Who was the most strategic mind on the Enterprise? Mark D?
Well, Data?
I'll tell you. I'll save it for you. It was Will Riker.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah,
it was Will Riker. Of course. When it comes time at the conclusion of Best of Both Worlds at the end of season 3, when Jean-Luc Picard becomes a Borg, and he knows the whole plan of how they're going to defeat the Borg, and now they're from square one. He has to find a way to outsmart Picard, and Picard has the advantage, right?
Mhm.
He comes up with a brand new plan, but the brand new plan has to look just like the old plan. So Picard thinks that they're just following the old plan. So
Mhm.
this is that same thing. They do a thing to make it look like that's their plan, but their real plan was something completely different, which was this raft. Misdirection to make it look like one thing, and then he just bolts out there, grabs the raft, and he's gone.
Mhm.
So this is the what we're going to play here is sort of the ending. We don't always get this in The Prisoner, but in this one we get the what I would call like the evil villain monologue, the James Bond villain monologue at the end, where he explains the whole thing. So this is what that sounds like. He's picked up by a boat, he's rescued, and here it is.
I hate to disappoint you, but the Polotska's our ship.
The weather forecast was very bad. You wouldn't have stood a chance in that toy boat.
I'm touched by your concern. What happened?
There's been a slight misunderstanding.
You're one of them.
I'm not. You are.
What?
As I...
Just to make it clear to anyone, he was talking to number 2, the one in charge. Now he's talking to the Rook.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was saying, a slight misunderstanding.
You deliberately tried to trap me.
I did what?
The mistake was yours. We can't have you maligning number 6.
You mean he really is a prisoner?
So he released you.
You only have yourself to blame.
How do you make that out?
I gather you avoided selecting Guardians by detecting their subconscious arrogance. There was one thing you overlooked.
What was that?
Rook applied to you your own tests. When you took command of this little venture, your air of authority convinced him that you were one of us.
And he convinced the others. What's happened to them?
They'll be back tomorrow. On the chessboard, as pawns.
They'll be back tomorrow on the chessboard as pawns. There's also a fight scene where they, because our hero won't go without a fight, and then they drag him back to the village or whatever. I don't know, whatever. But that really, you could have closed the episode out on that. If he didn't have an extra 2 minutes to fill, that should have been the end of the episode right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So what did you think of how it wraps up this whole plot line of thinking you can tell who is with you and who is not with you by their demeanor in relation to the reality of the situation?
I mean, it seems like a challenge against the idea that it's possible either way.
Well, yeah, I mean, as he says, it's a problem because in order to do this, you have to pretend to be one of the, as he puts it, the guardians.
Mm-hmm.
But the better you are at pretending to be one of the guardians, the more likely the people around you that you're slowly collecting into a cadre, like a team of counterparts to escape with, the more they're likely to believe you're not really with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is sort of this there's a sense about lying, like, yeah, I'm going to tell you the truth, but I have to lie to all those people over there. And I might sound convincing to them because I'm really good at lying, but you got to believe I'm telling you the truth, right? This happens on shows like Survivor and Big Brother a lot, where you get people who are in alliances and then they say, yeah, they think I'm in alliance with them, but I'm really in alliance with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then based on someone's like insecurity, they might think, yeah, but is this person really? Maybe they're really with them. I don't know. So you get this constant sense that maybe I shouldn't trust the person, and that trust eats away and works to prevent people from working together on things like this, right? If that's your view. I mean, in this case, they are really captured and in a village, right? We're not captured in a village, Patrick. This isn't a fake reality that we're in. That's not what's happening here. We're in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have free will.
Yeah, we're not on a chessboard.
Yeah.
No.
No one made me say that.
I mean, we are in capitalism, and that's sort of like a big chessboard. And I think that's in some ways sort of a thing that he's sort of playing at here, is that everyone who's just a piece on the board in capitalism is sort of portrayed as though they're part of, they're the capitalists. But they're not really the capitalists. They're not the ones who are making the decisions, the real decisions on the money and the movements of everything. They're just the people who are experiencing the atmosphere created by other people who are much richer than us.
Living according to the constraints imposed by the system we occupy.
Yeah. Yeah. Sort of like pieces on a chessboard. Yeah. On a chessboard with like roughly 7 billion players, give or take.
But some people definitely only moving diagonally. Some people only moving forward one spot at a time.
Yeah. So with that, I think that's all for this episode.
Cool.
So come here.
Who, me? Is he calling me over?
Not you. I have a different animal today.
Oh, hello, puppy.
Oh, yes. She's precious. Yes. And I'm sweaty, and she likes that.
Yummy daddy.
Yeah. So, YouTube watchers, you get to have a look at my dog. So cute.
She is a cutie.
Yeah. But she has to go down now. And anyone who wants to send any real feedback that's not from a machine and can request their own picture of one of my pets. You can even request your preference for a dog or a cat, of doing something super cute. That's much more cute than the thing I just showed for the people on YouTube. I promise it's gets way better than that.
We got to watch how sophisticated these AI bots get, because then they're going to start like taking some of this stuff to note. They're going to be asking for pictures of your pet, and then
that would be at least interesting, though, right? That they're reading that much into the transcript that they understand. Oh, that's what it takes to get. Okay.
We'll see.
Well, I mean,
we'll see. Maybe this is the catalyst for this discussion.
I am saying it explicitly.
Yeah. Let's see.
So, if anyone has any questions, comments, complaints, concerns about anything they heard on this podcast, you can send an email to truthunrestricted@gmail.com. And with that, we'll sign off. So, until next time, Patrick.
Cheerio.
Please remember to rate this podcast as often as possible to increase its reach. Due to the fact that rating algorithms are so incredibly rigged, only 5-star ratings are worth anything. All other numbers might as well be 0 stars. If it's not a 5-star rating, I would prefer none at all. Sorry, I didn't build the system. Please subscribe to this podcast to get the latest episodes brought straight to you, and recommend it to whomever you think would enjoy it. And special thanks to Jeff Powell for the theme music. I paid for it by listening to him play his old acoustic guitar until the strings broke back in high school. It was worth it.